all the things that you went through, because you said it was a very slow, gradual process.
Mm-hmm.
So you started with diet,
Mm-hmm.
and then you started moving, like a little bit of movement, walking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you really started with normal like family doctor.
Yeah.
And then you started with naturopath and doing some tests and whatnot. And then you started, small diet changes. And then you started Candida, which is a harder diet change.
Yeah.
And then you got into like just getting out and moving a bit. And then eventually fitness, going to the gym. And then you got into more of a spiritual side and like finding a purpose for your life.
Yeah.
And then I know you've introduced many things after that you've introduced, which we'll get into, but I'm just curious, like, you've introduced breath work, you've introduced,
like another extreme diet therapy.
Another extreme diet stuff, even more extreme fitness stuff. So really capitalizing on the things that work for you. But through all that, do you think, because you said it was a gradual process, if someone's feeling really stuck and really like, I know for me, I like to rip it like a Band-Aid and just get it done. So do you think if you did some of these things more, like tried more things earlier on, that it would have helped you?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
do it faster and get better, feel better faster.
Oh yeah. I always think about it now. Like if I knew what I did back then, I think in like a couple months, I could have felt as good as I did in a year.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. I would say yeah, I do think that. I think in like 2 to 3 months, I could have felt as good as I did in a year. But
so what would be the actions that you would have taken? Like what would have been the specific healings and how frequent and all that?
I mean, 3 months, you're kind of just blasting shit in. I mean, I feel like maybe the physical stuff would have taken a bit because like obviously it takes a while to build physically, but I would have done just like full Gerson therapy out of the bat, right? Which is, for you, those who don't know what it is, it's basically an accelerated nutritional approach to healing. So it's a whole food plant-based diet. There's supplements, there's juicing, and there's coffee enemas. So you're going
to do something with Nicolette.
Yeah, I'm going to have an episode that I've trained under Nicolette, and she does wild stuff. She's done TED Talks. She's been in China teaching 300 doctors. They're opening stuff over there. Like she's doing a lot, and she'll be able to explain like fully to get a better idea. But
we'll link her website in here too.
Yeah, doing that because my diet changes were so slow. Like even by the end of the year, I wasn't eating anywhere near to that. And I think that would have just like blasted all the shit out of my system that took so long to get out. Like I wasn't really doing anything to like detoxify. I was just cutting dairy like for 2 months. Took me 2 months to cut dairy. Like that's not really fucking shit. So I would have done that, but I don't know how fast I would have been able to get up off my feet and like moving again, right? Because I was just walking for a long time, and then like the running, then I started to go to the gym and like maybe I'd run for 5 minutes, and then it got longer. But I don't know how fast I would have come back. I would have done that. The energy healings,
I think it would have come faster with the diet.
I do too.
Like after like a month of Gerson, you'd probably be like, "Okay, I can fucking maybe go for a 5-minute run now."
I would think so, and it would have helped a lot mentally too
to get yourself to do that.
Yeah, it would have helped clear that out a lot, and then the energy readings helped a lot with kind of like clarity and purpose and figuring out like other things in my life that maybe aren't just food and stuff, like family, jobs, like what else is stressing me out. And honestly, my job, it's a weird thing because going through this, another thing that helped me stay forging forwards was having something to live for. And for me at the time, that was my business. And it was, if I think about it now, I just had all these things. Like we would talk and dream up all these ideas of all this crazy shit we wanted to do. And I wasn't ready to give that up yet. Like I wanted to come back and like, in my eyes, the business was just getting started, which it was. And I was like, fuck, like I want to do this and like see where it goes. I want to go travel and do crazy shit and have fun and ride dirt bikes and climb mountains and like do the shit we like. I want to live for my family, man, and all that kind of stuff. So I had things that I really wanted to live for. But the funny part about that is the business aspect was a big part of that. But it was also a big part that put me in that position. And after all this happened, I stopped caring as much about that business, but I held on to it for so long. And that was one of the big things that had added to my stressors. I think if I would have given that up sooner, it might have helped me heal faster, but I don't know. And I haven't fully given it up, but I've come to terms with like what it is, what I can do with it. I don't know, like I've learned a lot going through that. So I don't really know how that would have played, but that was a big part of it, right? I was holding on to a lot of stuff still, like emotionally, I guess, and energy wise. So I don't know. It's hard to say how I could have cracked that open back then, but I think for the physical and like the diet and stuff, it would have came fast. But the emotional and spiritual stuff, I don't really know how much you can speed that up. I guess is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And like going to see an energy reader, like, I don't know. I mean, I basically see one once a year kind of thing. I see her once a year, maybe twice a year. Like, I don't think if I went 3 times in 3 months, it would have made that much of a difference.
Yeah, true.
Right.
True.
That's kind of what I think, but maybe not. Maybe if you're physical and things are keeping up that fast and you're mentally getting better
and you're thinking and progressing so much that when you go back, there's new things that have come up that, yeah. And I find that because like I wrote a post on this actually was about circling through your health team because things change. They're constantly changing. So like, I don't know what had a massive impact a month ago might not now. And what didn't work in the past might work now or might have more impact now. Yeah. So yeah, like if you were doing the diet, the fitness, the breath work, the energy reading. And
the breath work would have been big, actually. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have sped it up for sure. And like some of the stuff you can only tell like at the times maybe too. Like, like when you need to go more. I
just want people to know that
it would make a big deal.
Yeah, that you don't have to like... You don't have to suffer for so long is what I want people to know because I see people doing that. And if, sure. I mean, I guess if you really want to gradually lay it out over years of your life, but
well, the other thing, I mean, it's tough. I look at the way other people live regularly and I can't imagine how they would heal. Because when I went through this, I had, the business was sort of floating me. Like Derek was still working. I was taking money out of that. I didn't have to go to work, but I was still getting money. And I had like a living situation that wasn't the best, but it was also pretty much paid for.
Yeah.
Sort of. But I mean, the money was going into the house, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, I just had that freedom to be able to sit there and do all those things. If I would have had to go to work every day or had family members like not being okay with the route I was taking, saying I need to go to work, like I never had to deal with family telling me I was doing it wrong or shouldn't be taking that approach or you just need to go to the hospital or that kind of thing, right? I couldn't imagine trying to do it like that. So my advice would be on some of that is like, just give it up. I don't know. Like you'd almost have to give up everything you're doing and quit your fucking job and take like 2 months and just, if you don't have money, get a fucking credit card or credit line and just take that time for yourself. Because if you don't, I think it just counters enough that it doesn't really work that well.
Yeah, there's a threshold. And if you don't, for example, if you're super fucked and you see, let's say a psychotherapist once per month, well,
you're barely playing catch up.
Yeah, you're barely playing catch up because it's like, I don't know, I think of it like a pond and you have all these little streams coming into the pond and, it can be this like toxic shit coming into this pond constantly. So you go to a therapist and you're just kind of like once a month. So like, let's say you're sitting there with a shovel, scooping like a bucket, scooping shit out of the pond to clear all the toxins out. Well, there's streams are still coming in. You gotta fucking heal each one at the root.
Yeah.
Because if you don't keep up, you're never going to empty the pond.
No.
That's why if you go all in at once, it's the equivalent of coming in there with like, I don't know, a fucking excavator, a giant ass bucket, and just taking the whole thing out at once and just get it over with. So
yeah, you can clear it out, and then you can kind of just keep it stable by regular, maybe less regular visits and things.
Yeah, exactly. So like when I healed, it was almost everything was weekly. I had daily and weekly practices. There was no monthly. There was no maybe some things bi-weekly.
Yeah,
but everything's daily, weekly, like really condensed, and for a month at least, and then bi-weekly after that for a couple months, and then monthly after that 3 months later. So and so I mean I'm the same way. I would recommend get a fucking credit card.
Yeah.
And don't be too proud. You know, talk to someone who might understand. Even if they don't, do it for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, go to your parents if they really, you know, I don't know, go to anyone. Take a fucking loan out.
Yeah.
Talk to your boss and be just open, human to human. Be like, look, I'm fucking suffering, and see if they'll help you. I mean, a lot of jobs are actually responsible to get you help if you need it in that way.
Yeah. I was going to say how much like this year, I finally feel like I'm ahead of like, I don't really know my shit. Like I find, and I'm seeing how much I've been in the past 6 months, I've been doing like a lot of shit for myself. I've been working with a life coach, which he is a bit of like a psychology background, like from his dad and stuff. So we've been doing like almost weekly meetings and stuff like that, and tons of exercises. And then I've been eating pretty much Gerson for the past 6 months. I haven't had a drink for 3 months. I'm like every morning doing yoga, even if it's just for 15 minutes, and then meditating for maybe 10 or 20 or whatever, you know, nothing extreme, but it helps. And, I've just have tons of little habits where like from 8 at night till 8 in the morning, my phone's on do not disturb. I don't use it. Just like giving yourself that time. And like the past 6 months, I honestly think I've grown more than I have in my entire life. It's been crazy. And just like by putting that stuff in place and doing it, it works, and you do grow really fast. So I think, you just really have to dive in, and I think you'll be amazed how fast things will happen and things will change.
After you